going on, fam? This is Raul from QB and Kennel. Today we're going to be talking about 10 things you need to know so you don't get had in the bully game. We're going to be doing this in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Unfortunately, several of you have been writing to me telling me that you've been scammed out of your money. So I decided to go ahead and give you a quick heads up. The very first thing you should be looking at when you're doing a transaction to buy a pup is payment method. If it's something outside of PayPal, it should raise an eyebrow. If it's Cash App, if it's Zelle, just keep in mind that once you, the payee, pays that money, you have no way of collecting it back or freezing it in any way, shape, or form. With PayPal, at least, if you make the payment and you never receive the pup, you're able to put in a claim and actually freeze the monies in the person's account. So keep that in mind next time you're going to pay for a pup. The other thing that several of you have been writing me on is cowhocks. You're trying to find out if this particular fault will or will not clear. Well, fam, you got to do your homework first of all, and you got to be able to read that ped, and you got to be able to see the forefathers, at least up to 3 generations back. You want to see the grandparents, the parents, and then the pup, of course. Now, I will tell you this, the majority of the puppies out there, anywhere between 8 to 10 weeks, even 8 to 12 weeks, they're just too young. You're going to be able to see something of a cowhawk. You should not be alarmed. However, if the cowhawk has not cleared between 6 to 8 months, then it's reason for concern. So keep that in mind. The other thing several of you have been asking of me is, how long is it before the puppy needs to get its ears cropped? I'm going to tell you this right now, fam. I'm a breeder. I do not crop puppies' ears. I take my puppies to the vet to get their ears cropped. So I could only tell you as to what my vet uses as his guidelines. You may find a vet in your area that uses a different guideline. My guy over here, he does it at 12 weeks, no later than. I have found with people that I've spoken with that it goes all the way up to 15 weeks. With that being said, make sure you check with a person that's going to be doing your ear cropping. That way you can be 100% certain as to what's the time frame and what's the window. Again, as for me over here, 12 weeks. This question was asked by Jessica in Indianapolis, Indiana, and she wants to know why her girl's head is still too small. When I asked her how old is her pup, she's telling me 16 months. So I figured I'd tell you how American bullies actually grow, and this way you could tell and not be alarmed when you see something that's being outgrown by the rest of the body. So here, real quick, in the first 12 to 14 months, you're going to see the bully basically grow up, vertically. Okay, it's going to be growing upwards. That's what we call here in the bully game their lanky stage. They're going to look kind of narrow but yet tall. Then you're going to be noticing anywhere between months 14 and 2 years old, you're going to be noticing that the dog is going to be getting its width. We usually refer to this as the bully popping, okay? That's pretty much it. It's going to be happening between months 14 and months 24. Then the head is going to be the last thing that you're going to see grow. Now, keep in mind, I'm just giving you a roundabout number. Your bully may grow at 10 months to its fullest size. It may grow all the way up to 16 months. I'm just giving you a roundabout number. The head should be starting to grow, to pop, anywhere between 1.5 and 2.5 years old. That's not to say that you're going to be keeping a puppy head all the way up to that age. I'm just saying it's really going to be growing by leaps and bounds between 1.5 and 2.5 years old. This next question was asked to me by Charles in the UK. Charles wants to know, how many times would you be able to breed a female bully? Now, Charles, I'm going to tell you this. When I first started into this, the ABKC and UKC both had different guidelines. Every single year, it almost seems like they keep changing their guidelines. So I'm just going to give you my best advice. I'm going to tell you, you should be able to breed a female 4 times, ideally 6 times max. The only way that I can see you breeding a female 6 times is if she's had a litter of maybe 2 or 3 or less puppies, or if she just lost an entire litter and that particular stressor of the puppies feeding on her and whatnot never happened. This question comes from Tony in New York. Why is the pedigree so important? Whereas you're telling us, look at the flaws, and at the same time, you're telling us to look at the pedigree. Well, here's the reason why, fam. There are some flaws, like I said earlier, like the cowhocks, that you could pretty much see if they're going to clear at or around 6 months. But the best way to predict it is by being able to read that pedigree on both sides, all the way back to the grandparents, making sure that you don't have any cowhocks there. If you don't have the cowhocks there, if you don't have the east-west there, if you don't have the high rear there, you know, at the grandparents level or generation, at the parents' generation, then more than likely, or more likely than not, your puppy should not be drawing it. Now, if you're inbreeding, you could throw that completely out the window because like I said before about inbreeding, you're just multiplying the good and the bad. But if you're just straight up doing a line breed or even an outcross and you're able to go as far back as the grandparents, the parents, then you could pretty much predict that these cowhocks are going to clear with good certainty at or about 6 months. The same would go with east-west. Now, east-west a lot of times is a different type of flaw. Like, it will not present itself at 3 months, much like cowhocks would. East-west normally starts presenting itself around 6 months, 6 to 8 months. That's when you really start to see it. So one of the best predictors or one of the best ways that you could try to figure things out is by reading that pedigree. Next question I get asked is from David in New Hampshire. Now he's new in the bully game and he wants to know if there's any other red flags I could throw at him. Well, David, I'm going to tell you something here real quick without throwing any salt in anybody's game. If you start seeing a breeder posting up nothing but glamour shots like this right here, just straight up glamour shots, and you never see this dog in movement, that's something you want to go ahead and question, because typically anybody could get a glamour shot and you think that the dog is perfect, but it is when you see the dog in movement that you're able to tell what's up. So keep that in mind. If you have a friend or family that's been scammed, money been taken, is getting into the bully game, you simply want to help them, give them info, go ahead and share our content. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, so when we drop something, you don't miss anything. Let's get back to it. Next question comes from Ernesto. Ernesto in the 305, Miami, Florida, my hometown. He wants to know, how soon can you feed a puppy raw? Again, Ernesto, this all comes down to interpretation. I'm sure there's some breeders that do it probably sooner than we do, probably do it later than we do. We start our puppies at 4 weeks. I'm going to go ahead and put the link up here, show you the video. Make sure you go in there and you check it out. This video shows you how we start our puppies at 4 weeks, how we prepare them so they could transition from kibble to raw. Now this question comes from Carolina, all the way down in West Palm Beach, Florida. She wants to know how long it is that bullies live. Unfortunately, Carolina, bullies only live between 8 and 10 years, which I think is pretty much an average age for a large breed dog. Nonetheless, I can only tell you I wish that they could live a lot longer. But 8 to 10 years is what we're looking at. Several of you have been asking about my boy Kaboom that I kept from the magic litter. Here he is at 3 months old. There's his mom. Boy's looking great. He's growing up. He's doing real good. Just wanted to give you a quick update. A lot of you are asking me, how old should my puppy be before I choose it from the breeder? I have heard stories that people are actually making people choose at 6 weeks. 6 freaking weeks. Unimaginable. I would say minimally 8 weeks, 10 weeks preferably. Now right here I got a pup from the trifecta litter. The only thing you could predict out of this puppy right now is pretty much his color. You could tell he's a tri. That's about all you can actually predict. This puppy, whether he's the biggest, the smallest, the most correct, in a matter of 2 weeks, it could totally change on you. This is one of the reasons why you want to wait until the puppy's 8 to 10 weeks. This is mom right here, Aruba. Now, I have a pretty good feeling that he's going to come in like his mom Aruba and his dad Chinook, which we're going to go ahead and post a picture of. But with that being said, I could sit here and think all I want, but at the end of the day, you're really not going to know or get your best shot at guessing until the puppy's somewhere around 10 weeks old. So keep that in mind, fam. Fam, this has been it for today. From my family to yours, make sure you tune in to our next video, whether over here or over there.